When it's time to make your dinner and you don't know what to choose, guess what? You've got a meal in a Muse. Hello and welcome to the very first installment of A Meal and a Muse.
Hey.
A segment where I team up with a fellow artist and we cook a dish that has some significance to one of us, hence a meal, and then we sing a song, hence a Muse. Great, awesome. So today we have the esteemed Erick from the cast of Jesus Christ Superstar. He is, in my opinion, he is poised to take over the world of theater, film, music, fitness, you name it. This guy can do anything, and it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. When you hit me up about this, I was like, of course.
Heck
of course I'm doing this.
Free meal. What?
Exactly.
So our viewers want to learn more about you.
Yeah.
But first, in the interest of time, we should go ahead and get started cooking.
Let's do that.
And then we'll, talk during the process.
Absolutely.
I've chosen to make a dish from my very first restaurant job in New York, which is where I guess I first learned the love of cooking. Like I never really cooked before I started working in restaurants. And in 2008, I was hired at a restaurant in Hell's Kitchen called 44 and a Half, which is unfortunately not open any longer, but its parent restaurant, 44 and 10, is open and it's very good. So go give them a visit. Sweet. And they also have mac and cheese on that menu, but it's not the same one.
A little different.
A little different. But so what we're doing, we have 4 different cheeses that we're going to be working with today. We have fresh mozzarella, gruyere, and sharp white cheddar. And we also have Parmigiana Reggiano. Make sure you get that Reggiano though.
Yeah.
Regular Parmesan.
This is not out the regular grocery store.
No, sir.
This is a specialty.
I did find a grocery store that sells Murray's cheese nearby. We're in Salt Lake City right now, by the way. And Murray's is like the best cheese. It's my favorite cheese shop. If you've never been, definitely go when you're in New York. So let's get started. We've got about a half cup of butter. So we're gonna make a light roux. To do that, we're gonna melt a half cup of butter, cook out all the, or evaporate all the water content. And right before it gets to that browning stage, we're going to add an equal amount of flour. So a half cup of flour is gonna go in, we're gonna whisk it around, and then we're gonna start adding our milk.
This is going to be a crazy learning experience for me. I don't cook at all, so this will be.
You love to eat.
I love to eat. Everybody loves to eat. This will be really cool for me.
Nice.
So I'm really listening and learning right now.
Good. So we're melting our butter. We don't want the heat to be too high. So while we're doing this, let's talk about you. So one of the coolest things that I admire about you is your drive, like fearless drive and motivation.
Yeah.
And I wonder, was there ever a time in your life where you did not feel that drive, and was there like a change, or like what was the turning point for you, or were you just always that way?
I'll say like I've always been really, really creative. Like as a kid, I was always super creative. I was really shy up until I was about 13. I had a really bad stutter. I just didn't like to talk a lot. I wasn't in front of people. I didn't like any of it. And for whatever reason, when I turned 13, really there's no like explanation. I just kind of grew out of all that.
Yeah. And
I decided, like, I guess subconsciously, that I was just gonna do stuff that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like from that moment on, I started singing. That's when I started acting. That's when everything started to kind of happen.
Yeah.
You know.
So during the pandemic, while our tour was shut down for 18 months, I think you were one of the first in the cast, if not the entire industry, to book work in a theater setting. You did a production of Songs for a New World.
Yes.
And you got to work with Jason Robert Brown.
Yep.
And one of my favorites, Farrah Alvin.
She's amazing.
She's amazing. And how was that experience? While this starts to bubble, I'm gonna.
That was actually like a turning point in my career.
Nice.
Because it's so funny, like perception and things like that. Because you're saying, oh, I'm fearless and I have like this. I was so afraid when I booked that job. I was so afraid. Vocally, that is a show that if you don't know the show, to sing Man One it's insane. Like that's a crazy task.
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't know if I could do it.
Yeah. And that's actually kind of a relief to hear, because on the outside, you know, you see a lot of people like yourself who seem to have it all together and seem to be fearless, and they do deal with some level of fear. Yeah.
Deal with it. They deal with it.
You deal with it. You push through it.
Yeah.
Once this starts to, it's gonna stop bubbling here in a second.
wait, is it
ever gonna stop bubbling? But then that's when we're gonna add the flour, and we just want to swirl it around so we make sure we don't burn it. It's starting to get to the point where we can add the flour. So anyway, another thing that you did during the pandemic, there we go, is you released an EP.
Yeah. Yes.
And I listened to it when you released it. I've listened to it a bunch recently, just in preparing for this. It has such a high production value.
Oh man, thank you.
And like, it's very sexy. I must say, like the biggest takeaway is that it's a sexy EP. If you haven't heard it, look on any like Spotify, Apple Music. It's under Donnell.
Donnell, yeah, that's my music name. That's my music name.
Yeah, is it? Where did that come from?
That's my middle name.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's called A Time for Us, by the way. If you want to check it out.
A Time for Us. It is super sexy. If you want to take my word for it, you just want to like play it at a certain.
There's a certain setting and time and place.
Dim the lights, light a candle or two.
Have something to drink.
Exactly.
A little something.
But you won't be sorry. It's a great record. So this, I'm gonna take it off the heat a little bit. So you sort of smell that like raw flour smell. You want that to sort of go away, and that's the point where we want to start adding milk. But you definitely don't want it to start turning color. You don't want it to darken. We want to go for a light brew.
So Tommy really knows what he's doing here. Okay, he's trying to make it seem like he's humble, and Tommy knows exactly what he's doing here. Okay,
I'm faking it till I'm making it. So we've got our milk. I think it's probably at a good point where we can start adding the milk. But here we go. And you want to add about like a half cup at a time, so it doesn't clump up too much. There we go. It is going to be a little clumpy at first, but just keep adding it up. We've got about 4 cups of refrigerator cold milk. But yeah, so this is going to provide a nice base for us to melt the cheese. We're going to melt the cheese in it. Once we get all the milk added and it starts to bubble a little bit. But what we're also going to do is we'll take it off the heat. We don't want to melt the cheese on the heat. I've done that before. So it like cooks out all the moisture and you end up with just like a glob of goop that is impossible to incorporate to these lovely Cavatappi chickpea noodles. So what we're going to do then, we're going to take it off the heat to melt the cheese. I'm going to add all the cheese to this bowl. This is a lot of mozzarella, so I may not add all of it.
It's a lot of cheese.
It's a lot of cheese, period. We're using mozzarella for the stretchy factor, and we're using sharp cheddar and gruyere for the flavor. So you want to keep stirring this, I think we have the heat on about medium. But yeah, so let's talk about fitness.
Yeah.
You've recently taken some pictures with Chad Wagner,
yes,
a friend of mine from. Yeah, he's great. He did my headshots back in 2017.
Yeah, they're the only people I use. Chad and his husband Steven.
Yeah. They're
the only guys I use for headshots and pictures and stuff.
They're great.
Fantastic.
And they're so fun to work with. They like create this fun environment. They actually have a cool story, but like recently, I think during the pandemic, they lost their studio flooded.
Studio. Yeah.
It was insane. Like they lost so much equipment.
Literally floating away out the door. Like it was insane.
Yeah, which is so sad because they're like the sweetest guys, and they really like do an excellent job. So Ginger Beardman.
Yes.
With a three as the one of the E's
in beard.
In beard. Okay, so Ginger Beard Men. we're gonna confirm, we're gonna confirm that Chad and Steven, they're the best. All right, so I think we're at a good point. It's starting to smoke. It's starting to bubble up a little bit. We're gonna pour the liquid into here and just fold the cheese through until it melts. Let's take this bamboo spoon and do that. All right, just say a prayer.
There you go.
Here we go.
Shawty gon' make, shawty gon' make, shawty gon' make up, shawty gon' make.
We're gonna fold the cheese in. Make sure it gets nice and melty. You know, I think we can actually add this the mozzarella.
Starting to smell good.
Getting real melty in there. Turn the eye off. All right, so now that it's like starting to melt, we can start whisking this. Now we're also gonna bake it for a little bit. We have the oven preset to 375. We're gonna throw it in there for about 45 minutes, but keep checking the top of it. You want to go for like a brown crust on the top. You know, get that crusty crust. A couple teaspoons of Dijon mustard. There we go. Little heaping teaspoons, we'll call that. A pinch, maybe like a teaspoon-ish or a little less of cayenne pepper, just for a little bit of heat. Stir that in. Oh yeah, don't forget salt and pepper. All right, so we're gonna take the nudes here. We're gonna take a little Pyrex dish here for bacon, and I'm just gonna like transfer these noodles. Also, I have to thank Jim and Tammy Butler for letting me use their Pyrex dish. They are local to Salt Lake City here, and I found myself without the proper cookware to do this. So I called upon them for a favor, and they were like, "Sure, happy to help." So yeah, it is lumpy. If you're watching this and you're like, that's really lumpy and I know how to make it not lumpy, go ahead and put that in the comments section. You're like, you don't know what you're doing. See, some of them haven't quite melted though. Maybe I didn't get the milk hot enough when I put it into the bowl. Maybe.
I mean, it's looking pretty good.
I think it's going to turn out okay. There's one more step before we put it into the oven. That is more cheese. So, we're going to take that Parmigiana Reggiano that we talked about and just spread it over the top. So we've got the oven preheated at 375. We're going to pop it in for about 45 minutes. We're going to keep checking at the 20-30 minute mark just to make sure it doesn't overcook in there and it's not like boiling over into the oven. So let's go ahead and pop it in. Actually, would you have?
Oh yes.
Yeah, thank you, sir. You do cook. So while we're waiting, you want to sing a song? All right.
It's the one and only Cavatappi. Oh yeah. She said, baby, I'm afraid to fall in love. What if it's not reciprocated? I told her, don't rush, girl, don't you rush. Guess it's all a game of patience. She said, what if I dive deep? Would you come in after me? Would you share your flaws with me? Let me know. I told her thinking is all wrong. Love will happen when it wants. I know it hurts sometimes, but don't let it go. 'Cause I want you. 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 What if I told you all the things things I've done. Would you run away from me? I told her, baby, we'll count bags full of shit that we don't want. But I can't unpack it for you, baby. She said, what if I dive deep? Would you come in after me? Would you share your flaws with me? Let me know. I told her thinking is all wrong. Love will happen when it wants. I know it hurts sometimes, but don't let it go. 'Cause I want you. 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 Yeah. Come on. Oh, no, I want you. Oh, baby. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So, we took it out at about 35, 36 minutes. It was starting to brown on top and bubbling all over. And honestly, it looks and smells delicious. Can't wait to try
incredible.
it. The last touch, and I will say that when I worked at this restaurant, it was like right at the precipice of the annoying popularity of truffle oil, but they used to top it with white truffle oil. And so we're gonna do that. Is it necessary? No, especially at $23 a bottle. I mean, worth it? Sure. This will last you a while, but you also have to use it before before it starts to lose its flavor. So anyway, we're gonna do like a little tiny little drizzle. I haven't used one of these, but I'm just gonna. There we go. It's a little. That's maybe a little much. There we go.
Yeah, just a touch.
Like, yeah. You mix it around a little bit. And let's try it out.
Oh man.
Maybe it needs a little more black pepper. A little more.
Here we go.
It's got to stretch. They're still really hot.
Wow. That's really good.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what mac and cheese should be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Got a little bit of stretch there. And that nice crust of Parmigiana Reggiano on the top. And honestly, like I don't mind the chickpea pasta.
I don't even notice it.
Exactly. Like so good on you. And one more question, and this is like one of those questions that you really shouldn't ever ask an artist. But we've already, I've already like run it by you. We've already talked about it, so I know it's safe.
Right.
What's coming up next? What are you looking forward to?
A lot of things. I can say for sure that I'm gonna have some music coming in the next coming months.
Mm-hmm. Got a collaboration.
Yep. Some collaborations with some really dope artists, some of which you know.
That's right.
But yeah, I'm super excited about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Can't wait to hear it.
Yes, sir.
I know you've been talking about it some too, so that was really exciting.
Yeah.
This guy's voice is sick. You really should just go to Spotify, type in Donnell.
Yeah, it's easy.
Time for Us. It is gorgeous.
Thank you, man.
So
Thank you for having me.
thank you again thanks for coming. Being my first guest on
Of course.
A Meal and a Muse. My name is Tommy McDowell, and that's it. So peace. Young. A mac and cheese situation.
Situation.
I can't.
Situation. Yeah.